Hello everybody and welcome to another puzzle challenge video. This is Ryan Murphy with chessuniversity.com and it's our second puzzle challenge of this week. So we're still sort of in the easy difficulty category. But I'll say compared to the average of what you might come to expect about these early in the week puzzles, this one's probably a little bit harder than normal, though generally the intended audience is still around under 1,000. So we have a position here where it's black to play and win. I would say there are two moves that definitely win material. There's one that's clearly stronger, but both will be accepted as proper solutions. And you can find the official solution post tomorrow, so about 24 hours after we post this video on the website. So hopefully you guys can check that one out after you're done solving it. So let us, as usual, rewind to the start of this game and see how we got to our critical position. This is the game Wen against Jones from the PNWCC Online Blitz, which was played on chess.com. And it began as a Sicilian. Like so many of our puzzles, black plays the early a6 move, which is slightly rare. d4, opening the center, this is a good reaction. e6, c4, white goes for a Maroczy bind, trying to grab the center and clamp the d5 square. Knight f6, knight c3, queen c7. So a pretty normal development. Black's actually kind of transposed into some sort of a con-Sicilian with the setup that they've chosen. White goes bishop e2, bishop to b4, which puts pressure on the knight, which in turn puts pressure on the pawn on e4. Knight c2 is played, and here black drops the bishop back to e7. Now it is possible to take on c3 with check, ruining the structure, but it would be, let's say, slightly dangerous to go hunting for pawns, because in this position the move queen d4, sure there are other moves that are decent too, but queen d4 is quite annoying. The knight would have to go back to f6, otherwise the g7 pawn was loose. And then after a move like bishop f4, black is under a lot of pressure, they're way behind in development, queen on d4 is beautifully centralized, and the dark squares in general are the main problem here. Imagine this bishop plonking itself down on the d6 square, will prevent black from castling, and in general it's hard for black to get the rest of their pieces out. So this is not a pawn black should really try to take here, for those of you that were curious about that. So bishop e7 played instead, guarding the dark squares, keeping the bishop alive. Castle. d6, very typical move, setting up this small center, controlling c5 and e5. Bishop to e3, short castles. f4, very standard, looking for play on the king side. Knight b d7, pawn to b3, protecting the pawn on c4. Now, there is a downside in a lot of positions where you have this Maroczy structure and the knight on c3, especially when there's a rook or a queen on the c file for black. And the main problem with b3, tactically, is that the knight on c3 is loose. Previously, it was protected by the pawn on b2. So there's a nice move here, which is a thematic pawn break that black often tries to employ to gain space in the structure, and it works because of the loose knight on c3. So here the move b5 was played, which is a strong move, looking to trade some pawns and open some space for the pieces. And of course, the main point is pawn takes is not possible because queen c3. So queen d2 is played, protecting the knight. But now black gets in a desirable trade of a couple pawns. Takes, bishop takes c4. This loosens the control over the d5 square slightly. Black develops the last minor piece. Queen d3, protecting the pawn on e4. And now knight c5 with tempo, and already white's actually in huge trouble because this center pawn on e4 is being hit too many times. So black decides to give up the dark square bishop to avoid the loss of the pawn, but this weakens their light squares, their dark squares, because they played f4 earlier, and this diagonal is open to their king. And now the queen on c5 is very strong. So queen d4 played, queen takes d4, knight takes d4, and now the pawn on e4, now that the queen is gone, is no longer sufficiently protected, so black wins a pawn. Knight takes, and bishop takes e4. All right, rook a to e1 was played in the game, and then after d5, f5, we actually reach our critical moment. And in the game, the key tactical move was not found. Instead, I think black played e5, which isn't a bad move. Black is still better here. But back in this position, as we said at the beginning, it's black to play and win. So hopefully you guys can find it. If you do see it, make sure you post on our official puzzle challenge post on the website. I'll have a link in the description for that if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.